guess I'll keep trudging on. Why the fuck not? I'm just beat up today, you know. A lot of prospects fucked up. Here, I'm trying my best to, you know, get it all engaged and be like, alright, I get to listen to people say, hey, if you're not in my community or Chicago or something like that, it's like, Jesus, you know, I'm watching these guys in the background, officers and things, and I'm just going crazy in the background before we get into They Don't Have Spin from 4 hours ago. Ooh, it's been a while since we've seen him. It's also something you'll see from Penzrow. Inside of here, you know, like I said, you know, if not this, alright, so I study this shit all the time. If not this, you know, if not where some of the best, well, not the best, but some of the biggest people of the highest bracket across the board, you know, I'm supposed to be in here, I'm supposed to learn from those models, I'm supposed to set inside here. I know, it's horrible, because I can't get a damn bit of opinion from downtown. What am I supposed to do? In the middle of the day, the operation like the cops stand around in Chicago? Yeah, no, I'll give it to you. I understand it's a dangerous fucking job, but you can't fucking isolate that and hold that shit out on somebody when they're like, I'd happily do it. I'd happily fucking join, but I got some asshole with their boot on my fucking throat.
Quantum mechanics has lots of weird stuff, but there's one thing that everyone agrees that no one understands. I'm talking about quantum spin. Let's find out how chasing this elusive little behavior of the electron led us to some of the deepest insights into the nature of the quantum world.
Of course they want to tell you it's some damn electron. They want to tell you it's chemistry.
There's a classic demonstration done in undergraduate physics course.
At the level of the type of chemistry you do, we can do black hole. We can do, well, I mean, what else is it for? I mean, I gotta be fair here.
It's a demonstration of the conservation of angular momentum. The angular momentum
when you get one of those, what is it, anti-gravity machines, a giant flywheel on the end of a pole, and it'll basically not really be lighter, but that spin in that flywheel will actually make it feel light.
Switch on a vertical magnetic field. The cylinder immediately starts rotating with a constant speed. At first glance, this appears to violate conservation of angular momentum because there was nothing spinning to start with.
This conversation has a magnetic field.
There was,
or at least there
sort of was. The external magnetic field magnetized the iron, causing the electrons in the iron's outer shells to align their spins. Those electrons are acting like tiny bicycle wheels,
so
and the shifted
a big ass
angular
cloud of
is compensated
anything
by
is gonna align with everything else in there. It's like looking at a hurricane on the map. That's the air turbulence equation.
Like spinning anything,
and yeah, it does.
Fine because electrons do have this property
temperatures inside of there start to create a field, colder pressure, hot or hotter or colder.
And yet they do seem to possess a
you got a lot of day-night cycle on there. You're above ocean, you're above ground.
Classical rotation. In fact,
you know, I wanted to try to do these jobs. Where am I supposed to find this in Hancock? Where am I supposed to find this in Binghamton? And even if I were to,
mass or the various charges, but it doesn't just cause,
you know, I tried my best to bring it down to the fucking floor.
It turns out that quantum spin
where the brother needed. I need those goddamn truckers. I need those cussing mother. They're not working on. Let's go back. Let's go back.
All matter. We'll unravel all of that over a couple
I just wanted to help inside here. I'm not trying to take anything. I wanted to be reasonable. I wanted to be reasonable in certain things. You know, you can't take out 5 guys in a stone mill and then have somebody offer you 50 cents and then call you back for 16. It's like, you know, I did that one man by myself and I took out 5 guys. You could have gave me $30 on top of what I was making. Do the math. I hate to break that down to you, but you let people do this stuff and they'll be out here chasing electrons. Where are you using it? A collision? So you can check collisions?
By Lorentz himself with the ideas of classical physics.
I mean, once in boot drill. When did you see it? When do you drop Lorentz? So I can drop this out because, I mean, at what point, in any point other than the fundamentals, have you ever used the product from these guys? Now, they're smart as hell. They could be graphing the students.
But then came the anomalous Zeeman effect. In some cases, The magnetic
Try it
field
in the
causes
stone mill.
energy levels
You can be
to
the great
split
safety
even
guy in a
further,
manager's.
for reasons
But that's
that
the
were
cap
at
on
the
that. You
time
can't
a
just keep
complete
dumping
mystery.
some stuff in here.
One
I give
explanation
it.
that
I don't
sort of
even know
works
what's.
is to say that
Is
each
this
electron
privately
has
paid
its own
for?
magnetic
Is
moment.
my
By
government putting
itself
money on
acts
this?
like a tiny bar
Is a
magnet.
tax dollar
So you
coming
have
into
the
this some
alignment
way?
of both the
Those are the
orbital magnetic
spins.
moment
Those are the
and the
flavors.
electron's
Those
internal
charm. Be at the
moment,
top. Be at the
contributing
top
new
means
energy
top.
levels. But
Means
for that to make sense,
this
we really
guy,
need to
that
think of
value, how
electrons
far
as
you can
balls of
take
spin
it.
charge. But that
I
has
got to be
huge
within that
problems.
budget.
For example, in order to produce the observed magnetic moment, they need to be spinning faster than the speed of light.
Call that
This
amp
was
limit.
first pointed out by the Austrian physicist
Cut window.
Wolfgang Pauli. He showed that if you assume electrons have the
It'll
maximum
do.
possible size,
It'll
given by
keep
the
cutting.
best measurements
And
of the
if
day,
you want to
then their surfaces
do
would
the
have
human
to be moving
biometrics
faster
on this
than
all
light to
turnkey
give the required
automation
angular
shit.
momentum.
That's
assuming
like,
the electrons
it's
even have a
almost
size.
dangerous.
As far as we know,
You
they
get
are
that
point-like.
Paul
They have
Bunyan
zero size,
in
which
blue
would
out
make
there
the idea
taking
of
out the
classical angular
chainsaw
momentum
guy.
even
I
more
have so many
nonsensical.
crews.
Pauli
What's
rejected
really
the
nasty
idea of
about it is they
associating
really
such a
don't
classical
factor.
property
They
like
love it to
rotation
do it
to the
themselves.
electron. Instead,
Gotta go
insisting on
fed,
calling it
man. You know,
classically
those are where the tops of those
non-describable
marks were.
two-valuedness.
When you don't factor
Okay.
the populace
So
inside of there,
electrons
you're gonna have to
aren't
walk
spinning,
somebody down there
but
and shoot
somehow
somebody
they
in the
act like
face.
they have angular momentum.
That's the math.
And this is how we
It's
think
it's a
about
note
quantum
about
spin
you don't
now.
do death unless
It's
you
an
know death.
intrinsic angular
Omega,
momentum
right?
that plays
You
into
know,
the conservation of
the
angular
horseshoe.
momentum, like in the Einstein-de Haas effect. And it also gives electrons a magnetic field. An electron's spin is an entirely quantum mechanical
Yeah,
property
there's a handful of them.
and has
I'm
all
not
the
saying
weirdness
that I
you'd
was one of
expect
them.
from the weirdest of theories.
Obviously, you
got to
do this, but I got to go in there. There's a whole damn department of stuff.
Experiment
Whole
that
colleges of
reveals the
things.
magnetic
And
properties
they're still going to
of
make me get that
spin.
degree. I'm not.
This is the
they're
Stern
gonna.
Gerlach experiment.
The
proposed
test
by
in itself.
Otto
Let's
Stern
go
in
to the college.
1921 and
I mean,
performed
have
by
you
Walter
help
Gerlach
me
a
do
year
this
later.
in the stone mill, and I'll
Silver
make it
atoms are
worth it.
fired through a
Have me
magnetic
do it in
field with
Hancock
vibranium.
so I could
In this
figure out
example, stronger
the
towards
MOSs.
the North
There's a
Pole
gas
above
station.
and
Well,
getting
there's
weaker going
1,
down.
2, 3,
A lone
4
electron
gas
in the outer
stations, a
shell
couple of
of the
deli
silver
stations
atoms
inside of there, a
grants
few
those atoms
restaurants,
magnetic moment.
3 or 4
That means
stone
the
mills in the
external
immediate
magnetic field
region for what it
induces a
does.
force on the atoms
Those are those
that depends
slits.
on
Those are the
directions
magnetic
that these
field
little
saying
magnetic moments are
outside
pointing
gravity,
relative to that
Hancock.
field.
Any
Those
other
that are
value,
perfectly aligned with the
Hancock.
field
If
will be
it's
deflected
not
by the most, either
in
up
the
or
proper
down.
orientation,
If these were
it's not
classical
gonna
dipole fields like actual tiny
correctly
bar magnets,
on
then the ones
100%
that were only
at 600
partially
yards.
aligned with the external field should be deflected by less.
AR-15,
So, a stream
the
of silver
range,
atoms with randomly
any
aligned
differential.
magnetic
And
moments
obviously,
is
you're going to
sent
say
through the
something. I
magnetic
heard
field.
that. You're going
You
to
might
say that
expect a
hammer
blur
note. You're going to
point with
say
the
some
silver
things
atoms
about,
detect
because
the
that's the
screen.
high end.
Some deflected
This is the
up
math
or
on
down
that.
by the maximum, but most deflected somewhere
You
in
know the
between
math, you're going to
due
get real
all
good. And
random
if you're big about
orientations.
that,
That is not what's observed.
you're going to do great.
Instead,
But
the
you
atoms
gotta
hit
ask
the
yourself,
screen
Ronnie
in only two
Coleman, or
spots,
Mr. Universe.
corresponding to the most extreme deflections. Let's keep going. What if we remove the screen and bring the beam of atoms back together? Now we
I
know
was
that
just
the
trying to get,
electrons have to be aligned
you
only
can do
up
this
or
until
down.
you're blue in the face, but
Let's
it wouldn't
send
matter.
them through a
'Cause
second set of Stern-Gerlach magnets. But now they're
Bernoulli's,
oriented
not Bernoulli, yeah,
horizontally.
Bernoulli's exclusionary principle.
Classical dipoles that are at
And you don't
90
do it with
degrees
this,
to the
this is
field
something totally
would
different. It
experience
would mean
no
it's
force
definitely not an
whatsoever.
electron.
But if we put
Means
down the
it's
detector
definitely not a
screen,
particle.
we see that the atoms
Something
again
else you're
land in
doing.
two
And
spots,
if it's not this,
now also
it doesn't
oriented
count for math.
horizontal. So,
I wonder
not only do
why
electrons have this
they may
magnetic
not
moment
want
without
that to be a
rotation,
thing, and they're
but the
smart
direction
enough to
of
do
the
something
underlying
about it.
magnetic moment is fundamentally quantum.
No offense, guys. Hey,
The direction
you go
of
take it
this
up with the
spin
fucking army
property is
recruiters
quantized.
about
it can only take on
quanti.
specific values, and that direction depends on
It's
the
horse
direction
shit.
in which you choose to measure it. Here we see an example of Pauli's two-valuedness, manifesting as something like the direction
A lot of
of
problems
a
out
rotation
there
axis,
that
or the
actually need to be
north-south
worked
pole
out.
of a
Nah,
magnetic dipole.
nothing.
But actually, this two-valuedness
Zeros and
is
ones.
far deeper than that.
Well, show me. Let's.
To
I mean, you
understand
should be able to
why,
put
we need
Fermilab
to
out
see
there.
how
Here's a
spin is
jar of what we do.
described in
I
quantum
watched him use
mechanics. It
if
was
you go
again
up here,
Pauli who had
putting
the first
a
big success
Nokia
here.
phone
By the
in a hydronical
mid-1920s,
lighter,
physicists were
the guy
very
gets out
excited
there
about
and
a
does it.
brand new
I'll
tool
give
they'd
you
given,
medicine. I'll give
the
you some
Schrödinger
stuff
equation.
about
This equation
the
describes
medical
how quantum
on
optics behave as
cancer
evolving
research for what it
distributions of
does. Have you
probability
ever
as
once
wave functions. It was proving
And it's a
amazingly
totally different type of
successful at
hadron
describing
collider as
some
well.
aspects of the subatomic world.
Well, particle
but
accelerator,
the equation,
excuse me.
as Schrödinger first
There, they're
conceived
just excelling
did
it and
not
shooting it
include
out. The guy
spin.
put it on a pickle.
Pauli
The
managed to
guy
fix this
that
by
owned the
forcing
fucking
wave function to
company
have
let
two
them put a
components,
pickle and
motivated
let
by
it
this
get
ambiguous
enriched
two-valuedness
by
of
a
electrons.
particle
The
accelerator.
wave function became a very strange mathematical
Now,
object
Drill,
called
I don't know
a
what you're.
spin-off,
I mean, a swimming
which
pool
had
come
just
up in
been
the boot
invented
camp
a
from a
decade
while
prior.
back, from what I heard.
And just 1 year
You gonna
after Pauli's
you didn't deal with
discovery,
that, Spinner?
Paul Dirac
You gonna deal with
found
that,
his
Spin?
own even more complete fix of the Schrödinger equation.
Now, Dirac's equation's
In
all
this
about the
case,
pop
to
up.
make it work
You know, if
with
you do
Einstein's
that,
special
where
theory of
is all that
relativity,
going to spread
something
across the
we've
field?
discussed
Can't
before.
go away. It's
Dirac wasn't even
not
trying to
created nor
incorporate
destroyed.
spin,
That's the
but
form it's
the
in,
only way
and
the
it's being
equation could be
transmitted.
derived was using spinners. Now, spinners are exceptionally weird and cool, and really deserve their own episode. But let me say a couple of things to give you a taste. They describe particles that have very strange rotation properties.
I want you to think of one thing that has very strange rotation properties.
Gets it back to its
Stone
starting
mill.
point. That's also true of vectors.
Well,
which
it's
are just
not really
arrows
boot
pointing
for
in
the
some
command.
space.
That's AR.
But for a
But anytime
spinner,
you would
need
get
to
in there and say,
rotate it
I have a
twice,
plan,
or
I had it
720
registered,
degrees
the
to
result
get it
was
back to its
fixed,
starting state.
I was
Here's an
doing
example of
better than
spinner-like
a set,
behavior.
and then
If
I'll
I
give you the
rotate this
first time in the
mud
stone,
without
and I'll be
letting
like,
go,
all right, maybe
my
that's
arm gets
something
in a
that,
twist.
all
The
right,
second
the spin on
rotation
that
untwists
might take a
me.
couple of
We
times
can
before
also
we get through the
visualize
new
this
shark
with a
attack or
cube
the
attached to nearby
nicer
walls by
marines or
ribbons.
whatever the hell
If
it
we
is you're
rotate the
doing.
cube by 360
And you look
degrees,
at that and
the
say,
cube
why would
itself
I
is
need to
back the
change that
starting
at all?
point,
Gravity
but the
was
ribbons
fine.
have a twist
9.8
compared to
meters
how
per
they
second
started.
happened on this Earth.
Amazingly,
Here's the
if we
output.
rotate another
Can't trust
360,
Common
not
Core.
backwards, but in the
That's
same direction,
insanity.
we get the whole system
You got
back to the
every
original
state coming
state.
with every different
Another
program,
thing
and
to
guess who
notice
that gets
is
dropped
the
down,
cube
Drill?
can rotate any number of times with any
You know,
number
at least
of
you if you had
ribbons
some
attached,
common
and it
system
never
from the
gets
Common Core.
tangled.
What do they do?
So, think of
They're all
electrons
about
as
the
being
Marx,
connected to
Marshmallow,
all other
Carl
points in the
Sagan,
universe by
totalitime,
invisible
slicing it
strands.
up and dealing
One
with
rotation causes a twist,
reverse time
so we bring it back to
analysis,
normal.
of V at the top,
To
of
get
learning
a
the
little more
science from
technical,
those
the
positions
spinor
with an
wave function
evaluation
has a
and
phase
taking it
that
out.
changes with orientation
I
angle.
can't argue
and a
the math.
360-degree rotation pulls it out of phase compared to the starting point. To get some insight into what spin really is, think for a second not about angular momentum, but about regular or linear momentum.
You know,
A
I
particle's
just look
momentum
at
is
that today and I go,
fundamentally connected to its
man,
position.
everybody had an opportunity
By
there.
notice
I had an
mirror,
opportunity.
it
I should have been
mirrors
able to
the
win
laws
that
of
suit.
motion to
I mean, I
changes
should be
in
able to go with
coordinate
this. I
rotation.
wasn't trying to take
This is
out
the law of
Binghamton
conservation of
Barracks.
momentum.
I wasn't trying to
For
take
related
out the
reasons, in
drill
quantum
sergeant or
mechanics,
recruiter in
position
there.
and
They are
momentum
under
are
policies.
conjugate
When I
variables.
asked
You
him,
could represent a
well,
particle
then
wave
I
function
have
in
to
terms
stand
of
up for
either of
this,
these
arrest
properties,
me.
and by
I would have had a
Heisenberg's
lawyer
principle,
come through this
increasing
system
your
and
knowledge of
actually
one
registered
means
my
increasing
case.
the unknowability.
I would have been
If
lenient. I would have been
physician
fine
is
with
the
that's drill
companion
sergeant. That's
variable
recruiter's
of
job
momentum,
over there. I wasn't going
what's
to
the
argue that or
companion
try to
of
push that on the
angular
system.
momentum?
This is a policy
It's
thing.
angular
That's
position.
a
In other words, the
man. You don't even
orientation
understand. I'm
particle.
coming
So,
through
one way to think about the angular momentum of an electron
with
is
$7 million
not
worth
from
of STEM
classical
problems.
rotation,
This is a
but
small
rather from the
business
fact that they
design.
have a rotational
This is
degree of freedom,
applications and
which leads to
resumes,
a
Swag
conserved
Incorporated of
associated
companies of
with that.
fundamental
They have
analysis of
undefined
stations.
orientations, but perfectly
This is
defined
Terminator Gambit for every divergent flow off your station, not only off your station, but your house, your life. You know, you're going to have to start thinking about this girl, that girl. Do I go to the bar tonight, here? Am I with somebody? Am I not with somebody? Those are going to be the spins. Those are going to be the charms on this thing. But they're zeros and ones to each other because spin is zero. It's a term. It only applies here to certain elements with certain values. And unless I get very comprehensive about that matrix, it has to be either 0 or 1. The Big Bang. And that's what you would learn there, because when you get there and somebody's trying to teach you spin, what do you got? The application, the divergent flows of the system, any kind of heat or magnetic housing inside of that particle accelerator, the stone mill. Just walking into a recruiter's barracks. That's a particle accelerator. You know, it said my element inside here. Well, the drill's like, hey, you know, this guy, he only wants to serve his country. When I asked, well, can you call a supervisor inside here? I don't have to. Now that one pissed me off a little bit, but at the same time, you know, those bosons are going to pop up. Those are quirks. Those are spooky actions at distances for what this thing does. Now I want you to look at how much mathematics you put to the table. Did you give that to him? Did you check off that? No. I mean, it's just going to come up to some horseshit at you at the desk because you just stationed. Well, that's the difference. I can't have that. Obviously, you can't be in the stone mill. But when the job is a recruiter, try to come into the Army, understand energy inside here and how this could be useful in terms of that differential. This is something real. This has something to do with training. This has something to do with picking out the marshmallows on the treasure chest over here. I was trying, I'm trying to run the Treasury. I'm trying to run the military on this because on the turn, as much as me coming at it, I still agree with it. But that's what's going to bring this down, unless you tell me what you are making that for. What do those collisions make? What machines do they go in? What emulsions? And you got to think about the whole housing on that thing. I want you to, if I could talk to this guy, I'd be like, how are you guys handling this without creating your own black hole? It's already a singularity.
Strange little knots in the subatomic fabric of space-time. Last